Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while. Welcome back to the show. My name is Spencer Walsh. On the show, we're going to be talking about the latest in coronavirus news, including what's going on right now as the death toll is edging up in several states. A judge sees a likelihood of success for a new law, or the Harvard-MIT challenge on a Trump law about foreign students in the United States, and LA teachers unions have called on keeping campuses closed this fall. We will take a look at the situations going on in there. Also, the latest about Noam Chomsky, J.K. Rowling, all those people who signed that Harper's letter, and cancel culture. We'll tell you the latest insult MSNBC is throwing the progressives' way, what they want you to do ahead of the 2020 November election, and whether you should actually do it. And finally, we'll tell you what you need to know about Biden's unity task forces. Are they worth it? No, they're not. They're not worth it. My name is Spencer Walsh, and again, if you felt like at all, like you've missed any kind of SWRN content, like you have not gotten your fill. If you've not gotten your fill in anything SWRN, I apologize, because we have obviously been away since, the last episode I believe that we did was an episode of Uncultured this past Friday. So it's Friday today, so it's been about a week. But what we have been doing is posting nearly every day YouTube videos. We have some great content up for you, and we will be playing some of that content back for you on this episode of the show. So, yeah, if you want to hear more new original content before you hear it on the podcast, well, I have one answer for you. Check out Spencer Walsh, SPENSERWALSH on YouTube. You know how to spell my name, people. Come on. It's my name. Spell it. And listen to me on YouTube. Thank you. So that's what we're talking about today. But first, I do want to give you the latest on the coronavirus news, things you need to know. And yeah, it started off with this death toll. And I'm sure you've seen things have been looking good for the death toll. Even as cases have gone up, we've seen a huge second spike in new cases. Like everything that we thought would happen is happening. But I think a little bit, there were a couple months earlier than we have expected it to happen. Like we heard, the fall is going to be when everything comes back and gets bad again. No, it's just like literally, like way sooner than we thought it would be. But the U.S. daily number of deaths from the coronavirus has risen recently in some of the nation's most populous states, signaling a possible end to months of declining death totals nationally. Because as we know right now, every state is kind of going through their own little path right now. A lot of states are still seeing cases rise in a pretty fast way, judging by the fact that, especially in the Midwest and central parts of the country, they have been very lax about it because they haven't been feeling the same amount of like drastic death toll. It seems like really at this point, every part of this country got hit in some way or another. Like it's been very, very clear that we've seen it, and that has been pretty ever present from just generally from what we've seen. But another very big factor in it is is the fact that New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, they are very well accustomed to, and they have seen the brunt of really what the coronavirus can do in a way that Texas and Florida and other places, they haven't really seen it yet. I think they are very much in the process of seeing it. When people really do start to pass away from this very, very tragically, and you know it's going to happen because of the rise of cases, there will be a rise in deaths. It won't happen right away, but it will happen eventually. And Texas officials announced 119 deaths on Wednesday, surpassing a daily record of deaths in the pandemic that the state had set only a day earlier. In Arizona, more than 200 deaths have been announced already this week, and the daily virus death toll in the state reached higher than ever. Mississippi, Florida, Tennessee, they also set the single-day death records this week as well. The 7-day death average in the United States reached around 608 on Thursday, up from 471 earlier in July, but still a fraction of the more than 222,000 deaths, or 2,200 deaths, in the country averaged each day in mid-April when the situation in the Northeast is at its worst. Because a lot of time, really, most of the country was not really feeling any kind of pain, any kind of real problem with the virus. all throughout April, and it was really it really doesn't get talked about how much the Northeast was really kind of bearing the brunt of the virus here, enforcing a lot of it. Right now, we see the Northeast going down, and their curve is looking a lot better than a lot of the other countries, because I think people in a really kind of a dark, depressing way have almost learned to live with it, and they kind of understand at this point, because it's just like it's going to be tough, but it's just kind of the way that it is. Like, you got to wear masks everywhere. You got to socially distance in the store. You got to follow the arrows in the grocery stores that lead you across each aisle. Like, it is very, very, very important for you to do that. And people here know they suffer the consequences, especially in the working class communities, especially in the Black and brown communities, where people, everyone knows someone who has been affected in some way. It is a very, very commonplace thing. I know here in New York, there's been a lot of people who have that I know who have felt the brunt of it, and people who have lost a lot of people. So that is something that I think the rest of the country really kind of didn't fully get the brunt of, because really those 4 states, the New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, I think are the 4 states that are kind of in the green right now, on track to contain COVID-19. They were the ones that were really feeling the brunt of it, especially New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Those have been the big ones, because of course the New York pandemic was handled so awfully. Things got so much out of control. But I think really that the other states, they just got too confident. They were like, okay, we got this. It's going to be easy. It's going to be fine. Things aren't getting away that bad. I have family who lives in Texas, and they were kind of in for almost a little bit of a culture shock, because they're not inherently science skeptical people, but living in Texas, it's they live in Dallas, and they were just like, wow, people are really taking it seriously here. People this is it's viewed, I think, in New York and Connecticut and New Jersey and areas in the Northeast where really life has been affected in a way that other places haven't. It's been viewed differently. It's culturally, I think it's treated differently. People act on it differently, and I think Texas is going to, and all those other states are going to really have to feel. We're going to hopefully, not hopefully. I don't know. I did not mean hopefully, but sadly, they will start to feel the brunt of it soon, and hopefully, people will be smart, wear masks in public, and I think the mask order would be so helpful. Wearing a mask, it's not that hard. Unless you have some sort of condition, your health won't be at risk. And it really, really helps. We've seen in Japan, they have less than 1,000 COVID cases. Why? Because everybody wears a mask. It's just that simple. It's common sense, and it saves your life, and it saves other people's lives. It's not really that hard. Just put 3 masks in your car, because you're going to lose 2 of them, and you'll be good. That's some life advice for you. Health experts cautioned that it was too early to predict a continuing trend from only a few days of data, but the rising pace of deaths in the Sunbelt follow weeks amount of cases in the region and suggesting an end to the country's nearly 3-month period of decline in daily counts of virus deaths. That steady downward trend in daily deaths began in April after the states instituted stay-at-home orders and continued through June after states had reopened their economies. The decline had continued over the past month, even as cases of the virus skyrocketed in the South and West. Deaths occur weeks after infection, so any rise in deaths would be expected to come later than a rise in cases. But public health experts say the diverging trends, newly rising cases but still declining daily deaths, had occurred largely because the new surge of virus cases also involved many younger and healthier people whom experts said were less likely to become seriously ill or die. Still, many experts predicted the declining death totals were unlikely to last as the virus continued spreading, passing from younger people to older people and others more vulnerable to the virus. So, if younger people are getting it, they're not being serious. They're not quarantining. They're not testing. If they know they've come in contact with someone who has it, and then maybe they see someone at the store, the person, or they go pick up a pizza or something, and the person there somehow gets it, and then they're older, and then they die from it. That's how it can happen. It can spread. You could be an asymptomatic carrier. So you got to be serious about that. Very, very important. Anyway, so we are on 842 new deaths on July 9th. 59,000 new cases. So looks like things have right now. There's a plus 5% increase in deaths and a 60% increase in new cases as it stands in the United States. Right now, a judge has sees a likelihood of success for the Harvard MIT challenge to Trump rules on foreign students. A federal judge in Boston said in a court hearing on Friday that a challenge to a new federal rules plural, stripping visas from foreign students who plan to study entirely online in the fall, had a high likelihood of success, but she put off any decision until another hearing on Tuesday. My gun on it is the big ticket item here is going to be his likelihood of success on the merits, said Judge Allison D. Burroughs of the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts. Lawyers for Harvard and MIT argued on court papers that the new rules from the Trump administration will cruelly and recklessly upend the lives of tens of thousands of international students and threaten the public health. Universities asked for an emergency order stopping the administration from imposing the new guidelines, which were issued on Monday after many, if not most, colleges and universities issued reopening plans that had been months in the making. So yeah, they're planning for that, and the fact that these visas would be taken away would really kind of throw a wrench into things. And colleges, they're wealthy institutions, they're powerful institutions, and it's good to see that their incentive also lines up for the incentive of people who are just trying to study here, trying to get out of maybe bad situations that they were in at home. Like, for example, like if you're living in like in a very, very poor like African community, or you come to Harvard or MIT and want to study, you want to be like make a better life for your family, make a better life for your community back home. Like, that is something that I think you should be able to do. And I think I've heard some kind of, I saw someone who I kind of respect on a personal level be like, this isn't really the fight to like die on, but I think it's like, it just makes sense. Like, why in the world is this necessary? It's just like, why in the world are we like pushing or screwing with, of all people, like foreign students? Like, is that really something that, like, you think is going to be a big problem here? I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Finally here, the LA Teachers Union calls to keep campuses closed in the fall, as the LA Teachers Union called on the LA Unified School District Friday to keep campuses closed when the semester begins on August 18th, which is damn early, and to focus on preparing for distance learning in the fall, the union said in a statement. United Teachers LA, UTLA, said the spike in coronavirus infections paired with the lack of resources from state and federal government for schools to increase public health measures would not allow schools to open or reopen safely. It's time to take a stand against Trump's dangerous anti-science agenda that puts lives of our members, our students, and our families at risk, says the union's president Cecily Maillard Cruz in a statement. We all want physically open schools and be back with the students, but lives hang in the balance. Safety is to be the priority. We need to get this right for our communities, and that is right. So school authorities had no comment as of Friday morning. I think it's really, like, this is just, like, the situation that, like, just reeks of just not caring, I think. Just, like, putting teachers in this situation, putting students in this situation just reeks of just not caring about human lives and not caring about vulnerable people, whether it's students from economically disadvantaged areas in Los Angeles, which are probably more likely to go to public schools. Like, no one's going to, like, the people who are going to go to these LA public schools, they're not like the sons of like, or sons or daughters of like Hollywood actors. No, like, these are working class people, probably from the kind of poorer LA neighborhoods. So I think that's definitely something worth taking under consideration here, because it's like, it can be very, very tough to see that kind of stuff happen, and especially, and you have teachers too, not to mention the teachers, the custodial staff. If it's not safe, it's not safe, and I think you got to trust the teachers, and really also the public health officials to know the way things are in that one. Just look at the situation. I mean, come on, like, let's be real about this. These two last stories, just think like, come on, like, this should be pretty much common sense. Like, if you're trying to conduct yourself and hold yourself to some sort of just basic ethical standard, which, I mean, is always debatable, let's just say, for the Trump administration. All right, we do want to move into our next story today. It's about Noam Chomsky, J.K. Rowling,